Hello everybody, welcome back to our Kids Church Online Week 2. I hope you had a fun lesson time last Sunday when we learned about the Last Supper. Well, we're continuing with our Easter series, and today we'll see what happened after the Last Supper when Jesus went up to the Garden of Gethsemane. But before we say that, Tesla wanted to really share something with you, and I think I'll just give him the time.
Hi guys! Okay, I have a riddle for you guys. So, what's black and white and blue? Think. Give up? Do you give up?
Yeah, what is it?
It's a sad zebra!
That is a good one, Tesla. Okay, can we move on to the story now? Are you excited to hear the next story now, Tesla?
Yes, why not?
Perfect. The wind was picking up now, blowing clouds across the moon, shrouding the garden in darkness. "Stay up with me?" Jesus asked his friends. They said yes and waited under the olive tree. But they were tired, and soon they fell asleep. Jesus walked ahead alone into the dark. He needed to talk to his heavenly Father. He knew it was time for him to die. They had planned it long ago, he and his Father. Jesus was going to take the punishment for all the wrong things anybody had ever done or ever would do. "Papa, Father," Jesus cried, and he fell to the ground. "Is there any other way to get your children back? To heal their hearts? To get rid of the poison?" But Jesus knew there was no other way. All the poison of sin was going to have to go into his own heart. God was going to pour into Jesus' heart all the sadness, all the brokenness, all the sickness in people's bodies. God was going to have to blame his son for everything that had gone wrong. And that would crush Jesus.
Wow! So Jesus and his disciples were in a garden and he asked them to pray with him.
That's right, he did.
So you're saying Jesus and God planned a rescue mission and he knew about his death whole time?
That's right, he did. He did plan the whole thing.
Wasn't there any other way?
No, there was absolutely no other way, Tesla. Jesus' death is all part of God's plan. It wasn't an accident, not at all.
Then why was Jesus crying and praying in the garden before his death?
Oh, that's a lovely question, Tesla. That's true. Jesus was crying. He was upset when in the Garden of Gethsemane just before his death. Well, he was going to suffer a more terrible death than anyone else has ever or will ever suffer. You know, it wasn't just about the physical, like the kind of pain that our body goes through, but it was God giving up on him to have to blame his son for everything that has ever gone wrong in the world. And that was crushing Jesus. He was just feeling the pain of it. He didn't want to be away from God, and that's what was making him really upset.
Oh,
But there was something else, something even more horrible. When people ran away from God, they lost God. It was what happened when they ran away. Not being close to God was like a punishment. And Jesus was going to take that punishment. Jesus knew what that meant. He was going to lose his Father. And that Jesus knew would break his heart in two. Violent sobs shook Jesus' whole body. Then Jesus was quiet, like a lamb. I trust you, Papa, he said. Whatever you say, I will do. Suddenly, through the trees, a glitter of starlight flashed off steel. Into the quiet garden came whispers, muffled voices, clanking metal, the sound of boots marching. Jesus stood up. He woke his friends. Now is the time, he said gently. Everything that was written about me and God has been telling his people all through these long years, it is all coming true. And into the night, with burning torches and lanterns, with swords and clubs and armors they came, an army of soldiers. Judas led them straight to Jesus so they could arrest him. And Jesus was waiting for them.
Hey,
Hmm.
so you're saying Judas, Jesus' disciple, led the soldiers to arrest him?
Yes.
And Jesus waited for him.
Yes, he did. He did wait for them.
No way!
Peter leapt up, took a sword, and tried to defend Jesus. He sliced off the guard's ears. Jesus immediately touched the guard and healed him. Peter, he said, this is not the way. Peter didn't realize that no army, no matter how big, could ever arrest Jesus, not unless Jesus led them. Then Jesus, who had never done anything except love people, was arrested, as if he were a criminal. Jesus' friends were afraid, so they ran away and hid in the dark shadows. The guards marched Jesus off and took him to the leaders. The leaders put Jesus on trial. Are you the Son of God? They asked. I am, Jesus said. Who do you think you are to call yourself God? You must die for calling yourself the Son of God. Only the Romans were allowed to kill the prisoners. So the leaders made a plan. We'll tell the Romans this man wants to be our king, and then they will crucify him. But it would be all right. It was God's plan. It was for this reason that I was born into this world, Jesus said.
So Jesus knew about his death whole time, and he let Judas betray him. He waited for the soldiers to capture him. All this while, he had done nothing wrong ever, right?
Yes, he did nothing wrong ever, but he let Judas betray him. He let the soldiers arrest him. He let all these things happen, all because it was God's plan. And though the leaders think that they have planned this whole thing, but it wasn't just a scheme that they had planned, it was a part of God's rescue mission for us. Wasn't that great?
Yeah, amazing.
So kids, that was our story for today. When Jesus was with his disciples in the Garden of Gethsemane, he was really having a conversation with God. He was upset because he was going to be separated with God. But he and God, this was their master rescue plan for you and for me and for Tesla and for all of us. And that's our story for today. Now, I hope you prepare your hearts as Easter is coming ahead and watch ahead for our memory verse for this week. Have a good week. Bye-bye.
Bye. Woohoo. Bye.
Good morning, everyone. It's Auntie Carissa back again with your weekly memorization challenge. I hope that last week you had an opportunity to memorize some portion of Romans 8:28 through 30, and we would love to see videos of you saying the verse. So if you want to post those in the WhatsApp group or in the Facebook group, we'd love to see them. This week we're going to be memorizing a portion of Romans 8, 31 to 33. And for gold class, you're going to memorize that whole section, okay? And for sapphire and ruby class, you guys are going to be memorizing Romans 8, 31b to 32. And in a minute, I'm going to tell you a little challenge I have for you to help memorize. And emerald class, you guys are going to be memorizing Romans 8, 31b. And I have some more hand motions to help you remember it, okay? Now, Romans 8:31b says, if God is for us, who can be against us? So to remember it, we're going to say, if God, that's the same sign as last week, if God is for us, who can be against us? All right, we'll do it one more time. If God is for us, who can be against us? Emerald class, that's for you guys. Now, everyone else, I have a little challenge for you. For your verses, I'd like for you to print them out or write them out yourself. And then next to key words, you can draw an illustration to help you remember the verses. And in fact, you can put the illustration up, just the illustrations in a row, and see if that can help you remember all the words. Now, I've printed out some illustrations. I'm going to read the verses to you and show you my illustrations. I'm going to start Romans 8, 31b. If God is for us, who can be against us? He who did not spare his own son, but gave him up for us all, how will he not also, along with him, graciously give us all things? So I tried to choose graphics that would help me remember God was the one who was doing it. Who is against us? And then look, I chose a cross because it talks about if God didn't spare Jesus from dying on the cross, then we don't have to worry. How much more is he graciously, kindly going to give us all the things that we need, right? So I would love to see you print off the verse, do your own illustrations, and try to memorize it that way. I hope this has been helpful for you. I look forward to seeing all your pictures and videos of you saying these verses. We're praying for you and we love you. Talk to you next week.